So one of the dishes that we're going to make today is using local salmon that comes from British Columbia, local wild salmon that we just cut up in small pieces, and I'm going to make a little marinade. And usually we keep the salmon marinated for at least a day, day and a half, just so that it soaks up the flavor so well. So I've just taken a little bit of oil here, and I'm going to add some salt, obviously, because we need a little bit of salt. Some freshly squeezed lemon juice. And the lemon works really well because it gives the salmon the acidity that you really want, which is great for a dish like this with Indian spices. Red chili powder, just to give you a little spice, because you have to make it look and taste a little bit Indian, obviously. Here is some of my masala, homemade garam masala made with roasted cumin and coriander and ginger. We're going to add a little bit of paprika. So what I do after this is just basically marinate and make a little sauce out of it. And as soon as you've done this part, basically you want is a nice red color, that bright red color that will really complement the salmon. So you take the salmon and you put it in there. Just turn it around lightly. Obviously the longer you keep, the more flavor and more intensity it's going to get. So this is one of the dishes that I think is a perfect combination of fusion between India and where we live, which is British Columbia. And so what we've done is we're using local ingredients, which is local salmon, obviously, and combining all the other flavors of all the regions of India. So a little bit of coconut milk, asafoetida from northern India, green onions that are used in South India a lot. So the style of this dish is basically all the ingredients have come together and come on a plate that really I believe that are a true essence of what British Columbia is all about. So I'm going to start here obviously with ghee, which is the clarified butter, and I'm going to make the sauces right on this side. And then once the sauce is done, I'm going to grill the salmon and then put the sauce on top of it. Two different elements combining together. I'm going to take some hing, which is asafoetida, right there. It's something that has a very strong smell. I just have to wait for it to start boiling a little bit on a low heat. There's a little bit of roasted cumin that we use at the restaurant. Obviously, we roast our own spices and we grind our own spices to the sauce. Now this is just a starting point. This is something called as saying that I'm making a masala. I'm going to add the green onions to it, and I'm kind of going to brown them. See how beautiful the color is, and you can actually smell the asafoetida, which is very strong, and you can smell the green onions in there. I'm going to also add a little bit of green chilies to give it a little punch. And whenever you add green chilies to a dish like this and you cook them, the chilies impart even stronger flavor to the dish. I do not want it overcooked, so I just need to make sure that I keep stirring it a little bit. When you're cooking it, that as the different layers come through, you can actually feel the heat. I'm going to add a little bit of the tomatoes to give a little good acidity to it, which complement the salmon. Cook the tomatoes a little bit. One of the most important things now here is to add a little bit of coconut milk to it, to give it a little creamy. And it kind of wraps the flavor up. So that's what cream does in French cooking or in any other style of cooking, the coconut milk does in Indian cooking. A little bit of a potato broth, basically potato and ginger cooked in water, just a little bit of a brothy style. So give it a little stir to it, and so I'm going to just taste it and see. No, I think it's perfect. Delicious. So it's got the richness of the coconut milk, the ghee, the salmon will be nicely grilled and coated on top of it, and there's a little bit of the punch that the Indian food should have. So you see the salmon that's gotten some color on it, obviously from being marinated for a day or two. And then what we usually do is just right at the end, I'll take the salmon, dip it again in the oil, just turn it around so that the oil goes on top of the salmon as well, and I just put it on the grill. The skin grills itself off, which becomes a little bit blackened, gives us flavor to the meat itself, which is very unique because if you're especially barbecuing or you're grilling something, you need to have that flavor of the meatiness there. So you see the salmon, now I'm going to just lift it up slowly just to see how the skin is doing and how hot the grill is. And you see that? It's nice and brown and crispy. I'll put it back on again just so that we can have some grill marks on the other side as well. So you still have the flavor of the salmon retained. You still have the sauce, different elements, but coming together on a bowl, which is the idea of wedges basically. Then I'm going to take the sauce, which is hot, and plate it. Here is like I just lightly put the sauce in, the salmon on top of it. Didn't want to put any garnish, nothing, just the own colors are beautiful. There's no point putting anything else in it. And then just the bowl itself, and you just serve it like that. This is for table 17.
Check out the Hippie Gourmet's quick and simple cookbook for healthy eating, available wherever books are sold.